empowering you through the voice of truth with your host, Dr. Joel Hunter.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Joel Hunter, host of Power Talks, empowering you through the voice of truth. On today's program, it's Ellis Feaster and Tyler McKenzie, on-air personalities. Did you know you were personalities? Woo! On Z88.3 radio. You may be one of the over 700,000 listeners who know their voices well, but have not had the opportunity to see them in action. Today's your day, because here they are to help us discuss the role of spiritual encouragement in our lives. Boy, it's great to see you guys again.
Oh,
you know,
it's great to see you.
My office is on their campus, and so it's so much fun just being able to interact even more with them. For a long time, I was their pastor. Still am, kinda.
Yeah, Pastor Joel forever.
You bet. So it's great to have an opportunity to show you to the folks that listen to you. Let me just do a little bit of bio stuff, not long and boring, but your mom was a nurse and your dad was a pastor.
Yes.
You are a PK.
I am a PK, which meant at my church, everybody could give me the church pinch whenever I did anything wrong.
He was so abused all of his life, which made him like he is today. No, but from an early age, you were telling me this other night at the concert, you had a little radio station set up in your room.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I had a close and play record player where you put the top down and put the record inside and it would play. My neighbor had one. So he brought his over and I played DJ in my bedroom at like 10 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And then I had another friend who knew how to build a small transmitter.
Yeah.
So I was actually using the two close and plays and a cheap little realistic microphone and would do a radio show for about 10 houses that could hear the signal.
Oh my goodness. So at an early age, you were called.
Right.
I mean, you just had that calling.
I knew I wanted to do this since I was a little kid.
Oh my goodness.
Even though my dad kept saying, I feel you're meant to be a pastor. I feel you're supposed to be in the ministry. So we were at odds for many years over this.
Well, we talk about this because you did other kinds of radio. When you ended up at Z88, though, for many people who don't have a local church home, Z is their church. Mm-hmm. And so you are very much a pastoral team to folks who are looking for encouragement. Tyler, let me go to you real quickly. You were born in Taipei, Taiwan. Your dad was in the Navy.
That's right.
And at 2, you moved to Florida. You're really a Florida girl through and through.
I'm a Florida girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is, and tell me, because it wasn't in the bio, when you kind of got involved in radio. I mean, you've been in radio a long time.
For a few decades, yeah. But I think I started in my living room with a Winnie the Pooh record player. Is how it started for me, too. I didn't have as many listeners as Ellis did back then. It was just like my stuffed animals lined up. But my sister worked at Camelot, a record store. I know we don't have record stores anymore.
Yeah.
But she'd bring records home and I would pretend and talk to nobody.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool. And you too, you were at one time you were working like 4 radio stations at once before you finally ended up at the Z, and you guys been together since 2008, is that right?
2008.
Okay.
And before that, we worked over at the country station where we were on next to each other.
Oh my goodness.
So we would talk every day and hang out and laugh and have fun.
So you just have been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
That is so. Now tell me just what do you do in the morning? You have so many listeners and devoted people who just love to hear your voice, and it adds to their lives. Is there a philosophy of the radio station that something you're trying to accomplish, generally speaking, or do you come on and you just see what happens for the day, or what?
Well, we just want people to have a positive start to the day that's Christ-centered.
Yeah.
So we just play a lot of encouraging music, and we're there for people when they call us on the phones. And we just try to have fun in the morning so people can start their day feeling encouraged, with a smile on their face and just feeling like we're their friends.
Yeah.
Life's hard, and so we try to share a lot of our lives too, and just that everything isn't, pink ponies and roses. And
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
share a lot of our struggles, and we want
Yeah.
people to know that are listening that they're not alone,
Yeah.
and that there is hope.
Yeah, and it's fun to listen to you. You talk about your girls, Emma J and Emma Grace and Ella J.
I do that same thing all the time. It's fine.
Sorry. If I knew the name of your dog, I'd have named him too. So, but yeah, as you go through, their transitions, everybody kind of identifies with what you're doing. Let me ask you specifically, Tyler. You're one of the hardest working people I know. You are a full-time mom. You homeschool your kids. I know not only your hours at the radio station, but how many public gigs you guys are a part of. I mean, everybody wants you to come and be a part of their function. How do you do that?
I don't know. I mean,
Oh my goodness, you got to be so
I fall
exhausted.
apart a lot,
Oh, my
Pastor
goodness.
Joel.
Wow.
I think that, when we go through different seasons in life, that God always has rest for us somewhere in that. And maybe it is through a song on the way to work, or it's through just having your only 10 minutes of quiet that day to give to Him. But, I think I deal with burnout very often.
Yeah.
I deal with being stressed out and overwhelmed very often.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot on my plate, and I think I've let go of the idol years ago of being that person. Oh, I'm gonna be the mom that has it all together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
and I think it's okay. Like, I think we weren't designed to have it all together. We're designed to be able to say, I need help, to
Yeah.
ask people for help,
Yeah.
and then to be able to model that to our kids.
Yeah.
My kids know I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
They know that mommy asks for forgiveness a lot.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Do you have, let me just go a little bit further into that. Is there a space that you can just go sit for 10 minutes and kind of get renewed? I mean, is there a piece of your schedule, just practically speaking, for those that are watching, if they're saying, if I just had a little bit of time that I could kind of regroup or regain focus. Do you do anything like that?
I don't have a special place. And I have
Okay.
a lot of friends that they have a chair or they have a certain time of day. I try to wake up earlier to do that. But the truth is, because I don't have that, I was missing on it. I was missing out on it. I wasn't doing it at all. And so I really look for moments throughout the day to find that.
Gotcha.
And it could be at the end of the day, it could be the middle of the day. If I could go to the beach for a whole week, that's
me
ideal for
too.
my spirit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think finding those moments during the day, we have to, or we are going to burn out.
Yeah. Well, don't tell us when you're going, because we'll have to come along, won't we, Alice? Let us come along in your quiet time.
It actually works out. I love the fact that she will carve out spaces in her schedule. It's like, you know what? It's Friday. I got to be at church Sunday. I'm going to take the next day and a half, and I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try
That's
to get
awesome.
some quiet time.
Yeah,
there.
that's fantastic. What's your, you guys, obviously, to be a team for this long, you kind of have roles that you develop. What's your role in the team, Ellis?
My role, I think, is just to knock stuff down. And no, I've always wanted to have a morning show where basically it's positive, it's fun, people walk away feeling good. Because if you go up and down the radio dial in Orlando, there's so much stuff that's negative, that's down, places where you've got to dive for the radio if you have kids because it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I've just always wanted to have a place that's fun and comfortable, and you can come in, whether you're a believer or not, and know this is a safe space.
Yeah.
And you're just
Yeah.
going to feel comfortable here.
Yeah, this is good. Let me go a little bit different direction. I know both of you have spouses that are in full-time ministry. Thomas is in full-time ministry in a local church.
Yes.
Real church.
Real life
church, sorry. And Hope, I listen to her as well. She's at the Z. Many times on the gospel station. I love gospel.
She prays 106.3.
I love that. I love the station. So is that helpful? Is it a challenge to have spouses in full-time ministry? How does that work for you?
For me, it's worked out really well because we used to have a problem where I worked early in the morning, my wife had a later day, and we hardly ever saw each other.
Okay.
So this worked out great that we're both able to do morning radio. We have the same schedule. We drive into work together.
Oh, nice.
We see each other during the morning. We drive home together. We can actually spend time together during the
Well,
day.
there's a concept for you.
Right.
Who'd have thought of that? Man.
I never thought I'd get to spend this much quality time with my
That
wife,
is
and
great.
I absolutely love it.
that's
So in
great.
our case, both of us working in ministry together works beautifully.
Okay. Tyler, that's Ellis. You're Tyler.
There's
A lot of
certainly-
people get that confused.
Yeah, we're used to that. I answer to both. So
Yeah, you look so much alike. You know. So, Tyler, how do you work it?
well, there's certainly challenges. My husband, he's devoted to his church, and I am too. So I think we both get that, because if there's going to be times where we are stopping to help someone, we both get that. And I think that he is just as much a part of this ministry as I am a part of his ministry. And as a family, we do that together. So there's certainly challenges, but I think that being like-minded in that certainly helps.
Do you? Everybody loves the Z because it is positive, because they can go there and they can get encouragement, and we all need encouragement. Let me ask you personally. Do you just not listen to the news? I mean, how do you stay positive? Because if you listen to a lot of media, it's just like, oh my goodness, I'm just not sure. How do you do it?
There are so many days I tell Tyler, like, I don't think I can watch the news anymore. It's just too
Yeah.
much. But I think it's all about attitude.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose not to let this get me down. I'm going to choose to stay positive. I'm going to listen to positive things. I'm going to spend time in the Word.
Yeah.
I am just going to surround myself with things that lift me and make me feel better.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Tell us some of those things. I mean, it's you're obviously on the radio station. That's part of it. What other kinds of things lift your spirits?
I just find just helping people, being a part of people's lives. Whenever I have a chance to encourage somebody, or I can see somebody struggling, just being able to encourage them, let them know you can do this, or I
Yeah.
can help, or let's do this together. Because I think I'm probably the big cheerleader at the radio station.
That's
Plus,
great.
he loves to barbecue. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of his greatest
yeah.
You know,
joys.
no matter what's going wrong, some barbecue
You've always got
ribs
barbecue.
can always
That's
make
right.
it better.
You are right there.
And also, I listen to the Z a lot. The Z has gotten me. I may work here,
Yeah.
but the Z has gotten me through a lot. I mean, for example, back in 2015, I had a seizure live on the radio.
Wow.
I mean, talk about having your worst moment, and the whole world gets to be a part of
Oh
it.
my goodness.
I remember just being in the hospital. The doctors didn't know why I was having this. I was in the hospital day after day after day. Oh, and you called me. Thank you so much for
well,
calling
of
me
course.
when I was in the hospital. That lifted me so much. But I just remember being in the hospital, middle of the night, not able to sleep, scared to death, all alone. The time it seems like the enemy likes to try to bring you down.
You bet.
And I can just remember having the Z on my phone, just streaming it next to my ear.
Yeah.
And hearing, one song stood out to me, and that was Mandisa, and He is with you. And just hearing the line, He is with you
Yeah.
in the ICU when the doctors don't know what to do.
Wow.
And I'm like, here I am, the doctors don't know what's going on, and He is with me.
Yeah.
And that just brought me so much comfort.
Oh my goodness.
And the Z does that for me time and time again.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for this
Yeah.
radio ministry, not just being a part of it, but being able to be encouraged by it.
Yeah. Tyler, how about you? What do how do you keep yourself in a place where you can be positive?
I think I shut off a lot from a lot of the world news and things like that. I look at stuff that I want my kids to look at. And so when we filter through news every single morning, we are praying through what the community needs to hear. And every story has a positive angle to it, most of them anyways.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to saturate yourself and the goodness. And there is good. There's good in our community. There's good in the world. And if we're always looking at the negative, it will weigh you down. It will start to affect you.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen to my heart many times. And so for me, it is staying intentional with my kids and turning off social media, turning off the television, and just getting on the floor and playing with them.
Yeah.
And those kind of things bring me joy more than anything.
You bet. Could I ask you, because I've never asked you this before, and I don't know why. How did each of you come to faith? How did that happen? Tyler, let's start with you.
I grew up in a non-church home, and I was invited to a vacation Bible school by my godmother. And so I started going, and so I knew that when I was there that this is a place I wanted to go. So my dad would literally drop me off every Sunday, and then I got to the realization that I wanted my family to go to church. And it became this burden on my heart to really want my parents to know who the Lord was. And so it was years and years of kind of going back and forth in that. I got involved with Young Life my freshman year of high school and was on a retreat at Southwind in Ocala, one of their camps, and heard the message. I heard the truth of Jesus and changed my life right in that moment. Wow. Continued to pray for my family, and the Sunday before my dad passed on, he walked into church with me. Oh. And so it was a beautiful story of, now my whole family's in church, and it's been a beautiful testimony of how God can restore. He can restore families.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Ellis?
All right.
It's not, by the way, it's not an automatic if you're a preacher's kid that you come to faith. There are preacher's kids that don't.
Absolutely, and I've been around many. No, actually, my parents came to Christ September 1968, when I was 6 years old.
Oh, really?
And so I was pretty much brought up in the bubble.
Now, wait a minute. There's a further story here. I want to hear about that event, and then let's talk about you. Because did they come to faith together?
Together.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. God just worked on them, and boom. I think it was an aunt brought them to church, and suddenly they both broke down and said, yes, I want to accept Jesus Christ in my life. And these are people who were at the time serious partiers. They would have the adult parties downstairs where the adults were all drinking and the kids had to stay upstairs. The day Christ came into their lives, they totally did a 180. Wow. They said, no more of the drinking. In fact, we're not going to spend as much time with those people who put that into our lives. We're going to spend more time with people who are Christ-centered. They gave up smoking just like this.
Wow.
I mean, literally, that day, we're done.
Yeah.
And God just took that desire out of them.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know how some people, when they come to Christ, they go in 110%.
Yeah.
That was my parents, to the point where my dad started to study the Bible and then started to learn theology and then worked his way on to becoming an ordained minister and then starting a church. And this is all in a period of about 5 years.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've got some affinity here. 1968 was my spiritual birthday as well. To be fully dedicated to Christ. And so I'm in my 50th year too. So tell us about you now.
All right, so you know what it's like when you're a kid and you grow up in the bubble, you're kind of going along with it. And then I was 12 years old, and I don't know why, but I guess God just worked on my heart, and suddenly everything clicked. And it all made sense, and I wanted Jesus Christ to be a part of my life. And even though I was baptized at 7, I said, I want to do it now, because now I'm doing it not because my parents wanted me to do it, because I want to do it, because I am personally, at this point in my life, accepting Jesus Christ as my personal Savior.
That's great.
And I'm getting a little nervous talking about this. It's weird, I don't talk about this very often. I guess I was on fire for the Lord at that point. We were going to Christian school. We were going around sharing our faith with our family, our friends, everybody. And it was just such a special time in my life. And I look back on that, and that was my spiritual birthday.
That's so cool.
Everything just changed for me at that point.
That's just so great. Tell us about kind of who your inner circle is. Like, who are your friends? Like, Becky and I are both introverts, so we're just kind of each other's friends, And we've got some like Vernon Rainwater and a few others, but don't have a big circle of friends. Are you guys more extroverted, or do you have a smaller circle of friends, or what?
We discuss this often because I think we're both very introverted extroverts.
Yeah.
And we play extroverts on the radio, but I'm painfully shy, actually, in many situations. So I think our circles are probably smaller than most people would think, but tight. We have
We've got good friends. We know we can depend on them.
Good.
And I think I think I'm probably a bit like you and Becky. I think Hope is my best friend. We do
Yeah.
everything together.
Yeah.
In fact, now that we work together, and we are together practically 24 hours a day now,
Yeah.
you know your relationship has to be tight.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it could also probably
Yeah.
bring you to blows if you're not.
Exactly. Exactly.
I always love something I remember you said at church years ago, and that was, what makes a good marriage? And you had said it was bringing together of two really good forgivers or something like that.
Yeah. You bet.
Because she's my best friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have to
People-
forgive each other
yeah,
a lot.
Exactly. People are irritating, especially those you love most. You know, it's just how it works out. I'm not sure why.
But I do. We both have like pretty tight,
Yeah.
small circles with people who we can depend on and trust, and
Okay.
will encourage us when we need it.
Let me ask you this question, because I think people would be curious about this. Sometimes it's asked like this: what do you want written on your tombstone? You know what? Let's not go there yet. But like, what would you like to be known for when people think of you, who know you, or even those who are coming to know who you are? What would you like for them to think of? What quality that you have, or what is something that you're trying to be in this world that's uniquely suited to who you are or where God's put you? Tyler, let's start with you. It's a tough question.
It is tough. I think there's so much that I want to strive to be. We're a work in progress, but I believe that when the day is done, I want to be known as someone who loved well, who loved her family well, who her kids felt loved despite my shortcomings. That I was someone who pushed through when it was hard, when anxiety got the best of me, and when the worst of me came out, that I leaned into God's grace. And that I could still point people to Jesus even when I struggled to believe him at times. And so I think when the day's done, that's the most important.
Good. How about you, Ellis?
I think for me, I would just want people to know I love God.
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah.
And I tried to bring joy wherever I go.
Oh, that's good.
Try to lift the atmosphere
Yeah.
and make it lighter and better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people, when the atmosphere is lifted, they'll be more open to talk to you about things.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Let's talk about family just for a second, because again, this is, and you don't want to talk too much about, because this is public, and you always want to kind of be protective of your family, but yet people are interested. They're family people, and they've got a broader family other than just their marriages, and Tyler, I know you are so devoted to your girls. They're great kids, by the way. Is Emma Grace in her play yet? She was a leading role.
She's in the Holy Land Experience, the
Yes,
Christmas
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Heart of Christmas.
Yeah.
That's starting soon, so she's loving it. She's
Okay.
learning so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to balance everything out. But I love being a mom.
Yeah.
I know that God chose these little girls for me, and sometimes I wonder if I'm the best for them. But God always reminds me that.
Pretty sure you are.
I think the key is
Yeah.
just being intentional. That's my word. That's my word, is just being intentional with them.
Yeah.
It covers so much of what I fail on.
Yeah.
It's just being intentional with them.
Yeah. Alice, what about you? She's Tyler, you're Ellis.
Yeah. Don't worry, it happens all the time.
It happens with me all the time. No matter, good.
My daughter is 37, and she lives in California, along with my two teenage grandsons, Bryson and Raul.
Oh, wow.
So we spend a lot of time Skyping. We spend a lot of time on Facebook. I try to fly them out here when they can come. I try to go out there and we can go.
Yeah.
It's tough when family is far away, but it's you have to be so deliberate. And I am so thankful we live when we're living, where even though they're 2,500 miles away, I can still just pull out my little TV studio out of my pocket and just talk to them
Exactly.
anytime and watch the boys grow.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
incredible.
goodness. Yeah. I remember when, to speak to somebody far away, you got to do a long distance phone call that cost an arm and a leg.
So we're going to call after midnight.
Exactly. Or I'm going to call, collect, and you're going to refuse charges so that you know I'm okay. You know, it's just kind of like the way you made it through without money. Oh, my goodness. Okay, just one quick question, because we only got about a minute or so left. What do you like about living in Orlando? Just real quickly.
I love the warmth. I don't have to shovel snow. I used to live in Rochester, New York.
Oh my goodness.
And one storm, we had 47 inches of snow. That was the day I decided I'm moving back to Orlando, and I did.
Oh my goodness, yes. How about you, Tyler?
I think the beach and the people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a great community.
It really is, isn't it? It's so family oriented and just a terrific place. A lot of great community spirit, and you guys are central in that. You know, I think when people invite you to convene folks or invite you to these great community events, you make our community better just because of who you are. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So we're out of time, and I know. These things go so fast because I'm really interested in. I don't have a list of questions over here. It's just like, I want to know this. I'm so nosy.
Well, ask
Continue
us.
this on our show now.
Great. But anyhow, we're out of time. This is how we are. Sorry. But I want to thank Ellis and Tyler for joining us this morning. And remember, these discussions are just that. They're discussions among friends. But we'd love to see you continue the discussions at home about being positive and encouraging, and go one step farther, get involved, because when power talks, you're empowered through the voice of truth. See you next time.
You just watched Power Talks, a Good Life 45 original production that makes you part of our Hope team here on Good Life 45, where hope happens.